Hi, my name's Eric. I'll be reading you selections from the e-edition of today's Cape Cod Times. Today's date being Monday, July 22nd of 2024. I apologize in advance. I have a little bit of laryngitis. I hope it doesn't disturb you while I'm doing the reading. First, the weather. As people know, we always start with the weather. And today, humid with times of clouds and sun, high of 81 across the Cape and Islands. Tonight, cloudy and humid with a couple of showers expected, a low of 71. Tomorrow, Tuesday, and through most of the week until Friday, clouds and sunshine with showers expected, very humid, thunderstorms and showers Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Tuesday, high of 78, low of 71. Wednesday, high of 77, low of 68. Thursday, high of 80, low of 70. And Friday, high of 80, low of 67. Humidity will be strong all week again. These numbers don't sound that bad, 77, 80, 81. But with humidity that's approaching 80% and at times more, you really do feel it. Please hydrate. Keep your activities outdoors to the earlier morning if you can, and the later afternoon if you can. And be careful. Take plenty of breaks. It will be hot and humid this week and a little bit wet after today. Sunrise will happen at 5:26 a.m. It will set at 8:08 p.m. We will have 14 hours and 42 minutes of daylight. The moon will rise at 9:27 p.m. and set at 6:29 p.m. From the front page of the Cape Cod Times, we move to the front half of the paper, and this is where the news, of course, and the lottery results are kept. And we read the lottery results because somebody asked for them. If there's something you would like read to people who are blind or print disabled, you can call us at 508-539-2030 or email us at info@audiblelocalledger.org, and we'll consider reading it. And if you miss any of the information that we share in our readings, you can always go to audiblelocalledger.org, and in the upper right corner is the Archived Readings tab. Click on that, and you'll find a week's worth of our newspaper readings that you can catch up on, as well as shopping guides for what's on sale at the grocery store. And all of that is free for people who are blind or print disabled at audiblelocalledger.org, the Archived Readings tab. Now, for the latest lottery results, we go to masslottery.com because the Cape Cod Times goes to press too early to give them to you. You certainly deserve them if you care enough to ask for them. So for the numbers game of Sunday, July 21st of 2024, in the midday drawing, the numbers were 4600. Again, the midday drawing yesterday, Sunday, July 21st, 4600. In the evening drawing, the numbers were 1557. Again, last night's drawing of the numbers game, 1557. Mass cash for Sunday, July 21st, 1, 16, 22, 25, and 32. Lucky for Life rounds out our lottery results for Sunday, July 21st with 2, 5, 20, 36, and 39, with 7, the bonus number. Good luck to all who play. Remember us if you win. Back to the Cape Cod Times front page. We will get to the president, but first, local news. State agency says no to release of wastewater by Heather McCarran. There'll be no release of treated wastewater from the former Pilgrim Nuclear Power Station into Cape Cod Bay, the state DEP has decreed. In a final determination that was handed down Thursday, the state agency denied a proposal by Holtec Decommissioning International, LLC, to discharge up to 1.1 million gallons of industrial wastewater, treated beforehand but still containing some radionuclides from the shuttered Plymouth power plant. Working in consultation with the State Office of Coastal Zone Management, the state environmental agency identified Cape Cod Bay as a protected ocean sanctuary as defined under the Massachusetts Ocean Sanctuaries Act, which the agency noted prohibits the dumping or discharge of industrial wastes into protected state waters. The water that Holtec proposes to discharge qualifies as industrial wastewater, and therefore the proposed discharge is prohibited, the agency found. Holtec International's Director of Government Affairs and Communications, Patrick O'Brien, in an emailed statement commented, "We're disappointed by the decision by Mass Department of Environmental Protection to deny our application to modify the Pilgrim Nuclear Site's surface water discharge permit. Treated water has been discharged within safe limits since the plant began operations in 1972, and today's denial will continue to delay the decommissioning and economic reuse of the Pilgrim lands," he stated. "And now we will continue to evaluate all disposal options for the treated wastewater and the effect this decision has on our timeline to fully decommission the facility." The state agency's final determination, meanwhile, was applauded Thursday by State Senator Susan Moran, a Democrat from Falmouth, whose district comprises several towns that touch Cape Cod Bay, including Plymouth, Kingston, and the Cape Cod towns of Bourne and Sandwich. Moran's district also includes Mashpee, Falmouth, Pembroke, and Plimpton. Holtec had a history of really trying to color outside the lines of the really crucial Massachusetts Ocean Sanctuaries Act. This decision by Mass DEP really is in complete validation that government works, she said. "This is a wonderful culmination on the part of so many that I've been privileged to be a part of leadership on since before I've been a senator." She recounted her early involvement when she proclaimed "not one drop" in Cape Cod Bay. "The next step is continued vigilance," Moran said, noting that evaporation of the material should not be the alternative. "Looking at the bigger picture," she said, "the federal government needs to put more resources into ensuring the safe decommissioning of power stations that use nuclear energy." Association to Preserve Cape Cod Executive Director Andrew Gottlieb called the state EPA's decision a huge victory for the protection of Cape Cod Bay. As importantly, it's a validation of the fact that local concerns do have a role, he said. "It's proof of the fact that if you fight for your environmental rights, even against a big corporation like Holtec, you can win." Diane Turco, director of the Cape Downwinders organization, agreed. "We applaud the state and Governor Healy and her team for rightly denying Holtec the permit," said Turco, who's been concerned about issues related to the power plant since the 80s and in recent years about its decommissioning. "It's clearly against the Ocean Sanctuaries Act. This is awesome news that the state is stepping up to protect the public and the environment. But the effort to ensure there's no release of radionuclides, byproducts of nuclear reactions, into the environment isn't finished," she cautioned. "The next step is to take action to prohibit forced evaporation of the wastewater, because the Ocean Sanctuaries Act also includes gaseous materials," Turco said, pointing out that because of prevailing winds, 60% of evaporated material would end up over Cape Cod Bay. Other alternatives, including storing the wastewater on site for at least the next 60 years or transporting it elsewhere, she said. But transport assumes there's a safe location to take it to, and that could present environmental justice issues, Turco noted. Electricity production at the former Pilgrim Power Station was shut down in May of 2019. As part of decommissioning the plant, Holtec applied to the state DEP for a modification of the plant's surface water discharge permit with an eye toward releasing the 1.1 million gallons of treated wastewater into the bay. The draft decision on that application was handed down last July, touching off a public comment period and a review of more than 1,000 public comments. The state agency issued its final determination after holding a public hearing and public comment period and conducting an extensive review of the more than 1,000 comments received. Heather McCarran writes about climate change, environment, energy, science, and the natural world. Moving inside the paper to the Cape and Islands section, Cape Cod National Seashore Beach reopens for swimming by Eric Williams. With a spectacular summer weekend in the forecast, fans of Marconi Beach in Wellfleet can rejoice. According to a Thursday afternoon Facebook post from the Cape Cod National Seashore, the beach has been reopened for swimming. The beach was closed for swimming for approximately 2 days after samples taken by seashore staff indicated a bacterial exceedance in the water. The cause of the exceedance has not been determined. In an email to the Cape Cod Times, Susan Reese, the Seashore's Chief of Interpretation, Education, and Cultural Sources, wrote that the test results do not identify specific bacteria, so as a result, we don't know the source. Marconi Beach, a popular strand for surfers and boogie boarders, is on the Atlantic Ocean. It features a spectacular natural setting with miles of open beach stretching north and south from the parking area. The large parking lot has 530 spaces and rarely fills up even on the busiest summer day. Beach closings for bacterial exceedance aren't unprecedented at seashore beaches. According to a Cape Cod Times story in 2012, Race Point Beach in Provincetown was closed to swimming from July 17th through part of July 19th. Marconi Beach in Wellfleet and Nauset Light Beach in Eastham were closed from July 31st until August 3rd. Head of the Meadow Beach in Truro and Nauset Light Beach were closed August 21st and reopened August 23rd. Folks can also keep track of beach closings across Massachusetts at the State Department of Public Health's interactive Beach Water Quality Dashboard website. From the photo shoot comment, which is written by the staff photographer for the Cape Cod Times, Stephen Heslip, there aren't many things everyone can agree on these days, but there's one issue that unites Cape Codders: the canal bridges, Sagamore and Bourne. The aging structures are a source of agony for any driver who must cross the canal. When word came out from Washington recently that close to $1 billion was coming from the federal government to complete the funding for the Sagamore Bridge, it finally looked like a go. When that amount of money arrives, a press conference usually follows, and so on one of the summer's hottest days, Governor Maura Healey arrived with U.S. Senators Edward Markey and Elizabeth Warren, along with Congressman William Keating and a host of local politicians. The media rule for these events is always, first arrivers get the best spot. When I arrived about 40 minutes early for the 11 a.m. event, 3 TV tripods, sticks in media vernacular, were already set up right in front of the podium. The sound system was up and running, featuring a soundtrack of Cape Cod tunes, featuring all the classics, including Patty Page's Old Cape Cod and even Raffi's classic kids song, Baby Beluga. The backdrop of a somewhat rusty-looking Sagamore Bridge prompted one media wag to suggest London Bridge is falling down should have been added. Thankfully, a strong southwest breeze, lots of shade trees provided cover as the group awaited the arrival of the politicians. The governor was running late, but by 11:20 the microphone went live, flanked by a Mount Rushmore lineup of dignitaries ready to speak about the Cape, getting a replacement bridge, and the big check coming from the feds. Finding unscripted photo moments at a press conference is always a challenge, but the best opportunities present themselves after the event. The old photojournalist rule always applies: arrive early and stay late. So when Senator Markey took up a spot off to the side from a low angle, he appeared taller than the bridge, which filled the background. It was just a brief moment before he was joined by other dignitaries for group photos. Doesn't always pay off, but following the old Scout motto, be prepared, does pay off sometimes, and it is a given. There will be more bridge press events in the days to come. And there is the picture posted in photo shoot, this portion of the Cape Cod Times for July 22nd, with Senator Ed Markey standing alone alongside the Cape Cod Canal with the Sagamore Bridge as a backdrop. Mass unemployment claims went down last week, but U.S. claims went up, is the final story in the Cape and Islands portion of the Cape Cod Times for today, Monday, July 22nd. Initial filings for unemployment benefits in Massachusetts dropped last week compared with the weeks prior, the U.S. Department of Labor said on Thursday. New jobless claims, which is a proxy for layoffs, fell to 6,455 in the week ending July 13th. That's down from 8,033 the week before, the Labor Department said. U.S. unemployment claims rose to 243,000 last week, up 20,000 claims from 223,000 the week prior on a seasonally adjusted basis. South Carolina saw the largest percentage increase in weekly claims, with claims jumping by 91.1%. North Dakota, meanwhile, saw the largest percentage drop in new claims, with claims dropping by 58.3%. Due to my voice, we're going to make this a half-hour reading of today's Cape Cod Times, and in the middle of our reading is when we always move to a different kind of local news, which is the obituaries and death notices that are printed in the Cape Cod Times of the day. Today's date being Monday, July 22nd of 2024, the first obituaries of Thomas A. DeRoche of South Hadley. With the heaviest of hearts, we announce the passing of Thomas A. DeRoche, aged 59 on July 17th, a beloved husband, father, brother, grandfather, and friend gone far too soon. He's survived by his loving wife, Lisa DeRoche, and many family and friends. Visitation will be held on July 24th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Beers and Story South Hadley Funeral Home. A funeral service will be held on July 25th at 10 a.m. at the funeral home, with burial to follow at Notre Dame Cemetery in South Hadley. The next obituary is of Lisa Ann Brown of New Bedford, who at the age of 61 passed on July 9th of 2024. She was formerly of North Truro and graduated from Nauset Regional High School in Eastham, and then obtained her Bachelor of Science in Accounting and a graduate certificate in Public Management, both from the Charlton School of Business at UMass Dartmouth. She formed and was the lead singer for the 1980s Boston rock band Hassengear and performed solo as L.A. Brown. She was also an active professional, founding Brown & Brown Accounting. Among Lisa's many accomplishments, she considered her 34 years of sobriety as one of her greatest. To those managing their own sobriety journey, she would offer Lisa's life lessons, which included taking it one day at a time, beach walks, and rocking out to a favorite song. Born to Dr. Willard Brown and the late Elaine Brown, formerly of North Truro, she is survived by many family and friends. A private memorial service will be held in the fall of 2024. In lieu of flowers, please make a donation in Lisa's memory to the Forever Paws Animal Shelter located at 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Mass. The final obituary in the Cape Cod Times of July 22nd is of Bruce Allen Stello of Dennisport, who at the age of 72 passed on July 8th. Bruce leaves behind his partner and best friend Leslie Mullen and their son and grandchildren. He's also survived by many other family and friends. Family was important to Bruce. He enjoyed time in nature with family, going for long walks, canoeing, collecting beach stones and speeding tickets, and hiking and camping in the White Mountains with his son and grandson. He was deeply proud of his son, grandchildren, and family. He attended school in Franklin, Mass., graduating from Franklin High School before moving to Chatham. In Chatham, he worked in construction with his father and then managed Cape fish markets and restaurants, including George's Fish Market in Harwich and Swan River in Dennisport and Naples, Florida, before studying IT at Cape Cod Community College. He worked as the senior network technician and later the network administrator for the town of Mashpee for over 20 years. He enjoyed his time at work and had not planned to retire for at least another year. Outside of work, he loved riding his motorcycle. He also trained as a runner with the Johnny Kelly Gang and the Cape Cod Athletic Club, where he made many close friends. He ran in Cape and off-Cape annual races and internationally. He was an accomplished musician. He played in local bands. The last 15 years, he played guitar, harmonica, mandolin, and sang in the band 66 Below. He enjoyed traveling, meeting new friends, and immersing himself in different cultures and languages in Europe, Asia, and the Caribbean. But the Cape was always home. He was loved by his family and community of close and lifelong friends. He is missed. A thank you to Beacon Hospice and his nurse and friend Jane Perkins for excellent care. A celebration of Bruce's life will be held in September. And that concludes the obituaries in the Cape Cod Times of July 22nd. And we'll keep it local, something we don't normally do, but the Cape Cod League is going into its tournament time. So A lot of people are interested in how their community's team is doing. Here is the Cape Cod Baseball League roundup. The Cotuit Kettlers lead the West Division after 2 wins. It was the Cotuit Kettleers, who are 19-9-1, beating the Chatham Anglers, who are 15-14, 10-5. The Wareham Gatemen, 10, Bourne Braves, 5. Hyannis Harbor Hawks, 6, the Harwich Mariners, 0. The Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox, 7, Falmouth Commodores, 7. Orleans Firebirds, 12, the Brewster Whitecaps, 2. On Friday, the games were the Cotuit Kettleers, 6, the Wareham Gatemen, 1. Hyannis Harbor Hawks, 6, the Anglers, 0. Orleans Firebirds, 8, the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox, 1. The Bourne Braves, 5, and the Brewster Whitecaps, 0. And finally, the Falmouth Commodores, 4, and the Harwich Mariners, 3. And that concludes our local news. As you're probably aware, you've probably heard many, many times over by now, Biden drops out of election, which is the headline, taking up most of the front page of today's Cape Cod Times of July 22nd. This reporting is done by USA Today reporters Joey Garrison and Swapna Venugopal Ramaswamy in Washington. President Joe Biden said Sunday he's ending his bid for re-election amid intense pressure from Democratic leaders, sounding the alarm that his path to beat former President Donald Trump in November has vanished. The president's historic withdrawal throws the 2024 race, already roiled by a shocking attempt on the Republican presidential nominee's life, into uncertain territory, with Vice President Kamala Harris widely seen as the Democrat most likely to take Biden's place atop the party's ticket. Biden made the announcement from his home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, where he has self-isolated since testing positive for COVID-19 Thursday night. It's been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president, Biden said in a written statement. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it's in the best interest of my party and my country for me to stand down and to focus solely on my duties as president for the rest of my term. Biden quickly endorsed Harris as the Democratic nominee in a statement on X. Harris said in a statement she's honored to have Biden's endorsement and will seek the Democratic nomination. With this selfless and patriotic act, President Biden is doing what he has done throughout his life of service, putting the American people and our country above everything else, Harris said. My intention is to earn and win this nomination. Over the past year, I've traveled across the country, talking with Americans about the clear choice in this momentous election, and that's what I will continue to do in the days and weeks ahead. I will do everything in my power to unite the Democratic Party and unite our nation to defeat Donald Trump and his extreme Project 2025 agenda, she said. DNC Chairman Jamie Harrison said in the coming days, Democrats will undertake a transparent and orderly process to move forward as a united Democratic Party with a candidate who can defeat Donald Trump in November. Harrison said the process will be governed by established rules and procedures of the party. The DNC convention is set for August 19th to 22nd in Chicago, but DNC leaders have planned for a virtual roll call vote before August 7th to satisfy concerns with ballot deadlines in several states. Trump, in a post on his social media website Truth Social, wrote, "Crooked Joe Biden wasn't fit to run for president, is certainly not fit to serve, and never was. We will suffer greatly because of his presidency, but we will remedy the damage he has done very quickly." House Speaker Mike Johnson, a Republican from Louisiana, called on Biden to resign following his decision not to seek a second term. If Joe Biden is not fit to run for president, he's not fit to serve as president, Johnson said in a statement. He must resign the office immediately. November 5th cannot arrive soon enough. Johnson said Biden's decision to leave the race under pressure from Democrats who feared he would lose to Trump invalidated the votes of more than 14 million Americans who selected Joe Biden to be the Democratic nominee for president. The party's prospects are no better now with Vice President Kamala Harris, who co-owns the disastrous policy failures of the Biden administration, he said. As second in command and a completely inept border czar, Harris has been a gleeful accomplice not only in the destruction of American sovereignty, security, and prosperity, but also in the largest political cover-up in U.S. history. She has known for as long as anyone of his incapacity to serve. Independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said in a statement on X that he commends Biden for stepping out of the race. His infirmities were evident to any unbiased observer from the beginning. It was this progressive deterioration and his abandonment of Democratic Party principles that prompted me to enter the race and ensure American voters had a viable, vigorous alternative to Donald Trump, Kennedy said. He also called on the Democratic Party to return to its traditional commitment to democracy and exemplify it with an open process. Schumer and Obama praised the decision. The exit marks an extraordinary turn for Biden, who for 3 weeks remained defiant in the face of growing calls from Democratic lawmakers that he withdraw after a disastrous June 27th debate with Trump raised scrutiny over his mental fitness. Biden had received bleak warnings from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Democratic House Leader Hakeem Jeffries that his candidacy could lead to massive losses for Democrats in the Senate and House. Now, both Democratic leaders have joined other party officials in praising the president for his decision to bow out. Joe Biden has not only been a great president and a great legislative leader, but he's a truly amazing human being, Schumer said in a post on X. His decision, of course, was not easy, but he once again put his country, his party, and our future first. Joe, today shows you're a true patriot and a great American, he said. Jeffries issued a statement that praised Biden's accomplishments as president, but didn't address whether Harris should be the nominee. Former President Barack Obama praised Biden's decision to end his campaign, saying he selflessly put the country's interests ahead of his own. Biden's outstanding track record while in office gave him, quote, every right to run for re-election and finish the job he started. But Joe understands better than anyone the stakes in this election, how everything he has fought for throughout his life and everything that the Democratic Party stands for will be at risk if we allow Donald Trump back in the White House and give Republicans control of Congress. Biden, who served as Obama's vice president, has never backed down from a fight, Barack Obama said. For him to look at the political landscape and decide that he should pass the torch to a new nominee is surely one of the toughest in his life, the former president continued. But I know he wouldn't make this decision unless he believed it was right for America. It's a testament to Joe Biden's love of country and a historic example of a genuine public servant, once again, putting the interests of the American people ahead of his own that future generations of leaders will do well to follow. Biden's departure will mean the end of a 5-decade career in Washington that began in 1972 with an upset victory for U.S. Senate in Delaware. Biden said he would speak to the nation later this week to provide more details about his decision to leave the 2024 presidential campaign. Contributing to that article were Joey Garrison, Michael Collins, Catherine Palmer, Carissa Waddick, Marina Pitovsky, Sarah D. Wire, and Sudiksha Kochi of USA Today. And with that, we have come to the end of our abbreviated reading of the Cape Cod Times. My apologies again for my voice. I know I have a little bit of laryngitis, and this wasn't the most pleasant tone to listen to, but hopefully you were able to get the information that was in the paper today in at least a clear manner. Again, my apologies. This is your reader, Eric, saying be well, be safe, look after each other. Remember our veterans, especially those who have recently passed. Bye for now.